Once upon a time in a magical kingdom nestled between rolling hills and sparkling rivers, there lived a beautiful princess named Rapunzel. She had long, luscious golden hair that reached down to her ankles and shone like the sun. But her favorite thing in the world was painting. She loved mixing colors and creating beautiful pieces of art. One day while exploring the castle, she stumbled upon an old, weathered wall that needed a fresh coat of paint. Without hesitation, she grabbed a paintbrush and a can of her favorite color, bright pink, and began painting the wall. At first, it felt good to finally do something new, but as she continued painting, she realized she had made a terrible mistake. The pink paint was too loud and clashing with the rest of the decor. And to make matters worse, it was the wrong shade of pink. It was much too bright and vibrant, like the pink of a flamingo instead of the soft, subtle pink of rose petals. She sighed and put down her paintbrush, wondering what to do next. Just then, her pet parrot, Polly, fluttered down onto her shoulder and squawked. "What's wrong, princess? You look upset." Rapunzel explained her predicament, and Polly cocked her head and said, Why don't you try painting over it with another color? Maybe a nice shade of blue or green would look good here." But Rapunzel shook her head. "I don't want to cover it up. I want to learn from my mistakes. Can you help me, Polly?" The parrot ruffled her feathers and said, "Well, I'm not much of an artist, but I know someone who is. Why don't you ask the wise old owl, Professor Hoodington? He lives in the Whispering Woods and is said to paint anything he sees just by looking at it." Rapunzel's eyes lit up. "That's a great idea, Polly. Thank you. I'll go find him right away." So off she went through the castle doors and into the sprawling gardens. She walked past flower beds bursting with color and fountains spraying cool water into the air until she reached the edge of the Whispering Woods. Taking a deep breath, she stepped into the cool shade of the trees and began walking along a winding path. As she walked, she couldn't help but notice the beautiful colors all around her. The soft green of the leaves, the bright red of the berries, the tiny blue flowers peeking out from under the bushes. All of a sudden, she stopped in her tracks. In front of her sat a majestic oak tree with gnarled branches that reached up towards the sky like wrinkled fingers. And perched on one of the branches was the wisest old owl in the kingdom, Professor Hoodington. "Hello, Professor," Rapunzel called out. "I have a question for you." The professor turned his head slowly and fixed his beady eyes on the princess. "Well, what is it you want to know?" Rapunzel explained about her painting mishap and asked if he could help her fix it. Professor Hoodington hooted softly and said, "Of course, I'd be happy to help you, princess. Bring me some paint and a brush and I'll show you how it's done." So Rapunzel hurried back to the castle, grabbed some paint and brushes and rushed back to the professor. When he saw the pink paint on the wall, he shook his head and said, "This is going to be a tough one. But don't worry, I think I have just the thing." He dipped his brush into a can of paint and closed his eyes. Then he took a deep breath and began painting the wall. With each stroke of his brush, the wall transformed before their eyes. The pink paint became a soft, gentle purple, like the petals of a violet flower. Then he added touches of light green and dark blue to give it depth and dimension. Finally, he stepped back and admired his work. "There you go, princess. I think this looks much better. What do you think?" Rapunzel's jaw dropped. She couldn't believe how beautiful it looked. "It's perfect, Professor. Thank you so much. How did you do it? How did you turn pink into purple?" The professor chuckled. "It's not magic, Princess. It's science. See, when you mix pink and blue, you get purple. And when you add green and white, you get a lighter shade of purple. By mixing different colors, you can create endless shades and hues." Rapunzel's eyes widened. "Wow, I didn't know that. Can I try?" Professor Hoodington handed her the paintbrush and said, "Of course, Princess. Go ahead and give it a try." Taking a deep breath, she dipped her brush into the paint and began painting. At first, she was a little nervous, but as she continued painting, she relaxed and enjoyed the feel of the paintbrush in her hand. She mixed colors and created beautiful shades and hues, just like the professor had shown her. After a while, she stepped back to admire her work. And even though it wasn't perfect, she was proud of what she had created. She thanked the professor for helping her and promised to visit him again soon. As she walked back to the castle, she couldn't help but hum a happy tune. She had learned something new and exciting, and she couldn't wait to share it with Polly. When she got back to the castle, she found Polly in the courtyard, and the princess excitedly told her parrot friend about everything she had learned from the professor. Polly listened attentively, and when Rapunzel was finished, she said, "That sounds wonderful, Princess. I knew you could do it. I knew you'd be able to fix the wall." Rapunzel smiled and ruffled Polly's feathers. "Thank you, Polly. I couldn't have done it without you. And thank you, Professor Hoodington, for teaching me the science of color. It was so much fun to learn something new." The two friends sat in silence for a moment, admiring the beautiful colors of the sky and the trees and the flowers. It was a perfect ending to a perfect day. From that day forward, Rapunzel became known throughout the kingdom as the artist who could paint anything she saw. Her paintings were displayed in castles and mansions, and people from all over the kingdom came to her for help with their own art projects. And whenever she saw a wall that needed painting, she didn't run away from it. She took a deep breath, mixed the right colors, and painted it the perfect shade of whatever she was trying to create. Because Rapunzel knew that mistakes happen to all of us, but it's what we do with those mistakes that really matters. We can either let them bring us down, or we can learn from them and make something beautiful out of them, just like she had done with the pink wall. The end. Do you like this story? Do you want to see more stories like this? If so, please subscribe to our channel Hanum Cartoon and press the bell icon for notifications. Also, if you haven't already, please download the app for free on your mobile devices. You can watch all of our videos for kids on the app. That's 1 minute, one story every day. Thanks for watching. See you next time.